Jack here, owner of Hockey Alley, bringing you back hockey history. Today I got a great friend of mine, NHL legend, Pete Demers. How are you, Pete?
Great, Jack. Good, good.
Good. How's your summer going?
Yeah, it's good. We got lots of stuff going on. There's always yard work that I'm working on constantly, and then the gym every day, and spending time with Blair, my girlfriend, and everything's going good. You know, nothing matters but your health.
Yes, that's true. Yes. This week it was a little bit of sad news. Bob Murdoch passed away. I'm not sure if you heard about that or not.
Yeah, I
You
did.
remember?
Yeah, and it's so sad. Great guy. I remember going way back. He came to the Kings, and he bought a house up in Palos Verdes.
Mm-hmm.
He had an ocean view, $60,000.
Wow.
And we thought that was a lot of money then, you know. But I got some. Yeah, he was really a good team guy, and always happy and smiling, and great player.
Yeah.
And he had a wonderful career.
Yeah.
And then I guess in 2019, from what I can read, I kind of lost track of him, but from what I can read, he developed some dementia and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and that got him. You know, it's too bad. It's wonderful family, wife Doris, and you know the other day, it's unbelievable how things work within the brain. I haven't thought of Bob Murdoch in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day I was talking to my friend Al in Rhode Island, and I think I mentioned him before to you in one of our talks, and I was mentioned Bob Murdoch. He called me. He called me one day. We had a few days off,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty unusual during the hockey season. But when we had a day off, so he wanted me to go fishing with him, and he said he got a boat chartered in Oxnard, and I'm all in for that. So I got my gear ready, and I was living in Culver City then, and I was going to meet him at like 5 o'clock in the morning outside, and so I went out like 4:45. I sat on the sidewalk. I sat on the curb. I remember my gear was up against the tree, and a few minutes before Bob got there, and then all of a sudden I just kind of got sick to my stomach or something. I think it was just excitement of being able to go fishing. I got kind of a touchy stomach anyway, and I have to be careful when I'm out in the boat, you know, not looking down and making sure that I'm, you know, not too much caffeine or something. And I got a funny stomach, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I got sick to my stomach, and I said to myself, I can't go on this trip if I'm going to be feeling like this. And so he showed up, and he stayed with me for like 15 minutes and see if I'd settle down, but I didn't. So he left, and he went, and so I was wondering all day. You know, I recovered okay, and I was wondering all day how fishing was, because that's what I do. Yeah. If I miss a day of fishing, then I'm wondering all day if they're catching or what they're doing. Yeah. But so the next morning at practice, I saw him and I said, "Hey, how'd it go?" He said, "It was terrible." Oh, he said the wind was blowing, the waves were big. He said a wave came over the bow and knocked the windows out of the wheelhouse. Everybody on the boat was sick, throwing up and everything. And they even had to come in early because they couldn't fish, and it was terrible. And so I was really glad that I stayed home.
Yeah.
That day, that would have been something. But anyway, I hadn't thought of Bob Murdoch in so long, and I was talking to Al about that story. Al already knew that story that I had already shared him with that way back when.
Yes.
And then the next day, after I was talking to Al, I find out Bob Murdoch passed away. So there's something to that, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It happens to me all the time. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
And you think of someone,
yes.
and that you haven't thought of in a long time, and the next day you find out that they passed away, or there's some kind of illness, or something's going on with them. And I have friends telling me, "Well, don't think about me."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's too bad. And then we
Yeah.
lost another guy the other day, Chris Kincaid. He was a stick boy in Anaheim,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd always take good care of us when the Kings went to Anaheim to play, and he was a great guy. And then when we went to the World Cup of Hockey and the Olympics,
Yeah.
and the World Championships, Ron Wilson was our coach on several events that I did with USA Hockey. And Chris Kincaid he went as a assistant equipment manager, and
Yeah.
and now he's gone. And boy, I'll tell you, there seems like they're dying all around us, and so we got to try to enjoy every day.
Absolutely. Do you still keep in touch with a lot of players from the past? Because I know you worked with a lot of the players over the years, maybe thousands of them. I mean, do you keep in touch with any?
Oh yeah, I keep in touch with Jerry Korab, and also I've been fishing quite a bit with Dave Gans. He came in, he played in the minor league for the Kings in New Haven, and he played maybe 10 games here in LA, but he's a contractor now, a builder in Brantford, Ontario, where Gretzky's from, and so we've been going down to Florida and going fishing, and in fact, we'll probably be going here in the next month or so, as soon as it starts to cool down.
That's awesome.
So I keep in touch with Marty also,
McSorley.
That's another guy that, great guy. Like, he's so personable, he'd keep the bus waiting 15 minutes while he signed autographs out with the kids and stuff,
Wow.
really, really a good guy. It's just too bad over that stick,
Yeah.
And everybody points their finger at Marty over that. And, we had 3 overtime games in that finals and against Montreal, and it could have gone either way. Just we didn't get the bounces, but then Marty takes the hit on it. And, a lot of players on teams, they have sticks that, for the people listening that don't know that, the curve, you couldn't have anything over a half-inch curve, and there was a gauge that we used to measure the sticks. And but I don't know, they think it improves their shot with a little more curve. I guess Bobby Hull came out with that. And but anyway, then Marty got caught with an illegal stick, and Montreal ended up tying the game and then winning in overtime. So it's too bad, but everybody blames Marty for that. We didn't win the cup, and we needed to score more goals too, and we just couldn't get it done. But I'll tell you, in all defense of Marty, if it wasn't for Marty McSorley, we wouldn't have gone as far as we did in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because he was, as you know, he's an enforcer, and
he's tough.
He kept his eye, he kept everybody in line, and protective of Gretz, and everybody knows the impact that Gretz had on our team. And so I feel bad that that's the thing that people remember about Marty, is that
the stick,
that stick, but he is a real character person, and a credit to our game, and I keep in touch with him.
He worked hard to make it. Like, it didn't come easy for him, but I mean, he got into the NHL and he had a great career. But that one, everybody remembers this. Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's
great family too. Great family. I knew his dad, Bill,
and
he was a good guy. He'd come out to visit, and
one day you were speaking of hockey sticks. One day you were telling me a story that you were fixing Gretzky's stick and something happened.
Well, when Gretz first came from Edmonton,
Uh-huh.
he used Titan sticks, wooden Titan sticks.
Yes.
And then he got hooked up with Easton, came out with aluminum stick, and it had a blade, that wooden blade that you'd put in. You'd heat it up with a torch, and then put glue on, and put a new blade in, and he was just in the experimental stages of using that stick, and he was using that in the game, and obviously he had spare sticks on the rack, so. But he wanted a new blade in that stick. He didn't want to wait till the end of the period.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the game's changed so much now. They have all the big staff, and but I was fortunate enough to be able to experience to wear many hats, and so I was doing a lot of the equipment stuff too. And so I was the one that Easton trained on changing the blade. So it was in the middle of a game, and so I ran in by the washer machine in the locker room, and I grabbed the torch, and you had to heat the shaft up.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you had to heat the shaft up, and then you'd slide the broken blade out, and then put the new one in, and so I heated up the blade. I heated up the shaft, and then when I stopped to take the piece out with use a towel because it's hot.
Yeah.
And I pulled the shaft out, but the torch was still going, and I put it down on the floor, and honest to God, the torch, it touched my polyester pants we used to wear, and caught on fire.
Oh man.
But there were a bunch of water bottles right there on the shelf they were full, so I grabbed one, but it scorched me a little bit, not a burn or anything, but just kind of singed my leg, but I had a hole in my
scary
pants, like that was probably 3 or 4 inches around, and it just melted it immediately. And but I got that put out. But in the meantime, someone got hurt on the ice, and I told them, whistle or yell real loud if someone gets hurt, and I'll run out.
Yes.
So I heard someone screaming, Pete, Pete. So I ran out, and the visiting trainer was on the ice looking after our player. That's the system that we have. And I ran out there on the ice there, and I had a big hole in my pants. A lot of people didn't notice it, but some people did, and I guess that could have turned into be a disaster. But it's kind of a funny story. People don't really realize what we do,
Yeah, that's scary. I remember you had to get those sticks pretty hot. Like, it took about a minute or so to get them nice and hot before you could take the blade out.
Yeah, you had to heat it up pretty good. Yeah, probably take about 30 seconds. And and then the blade comes out, and you put the glue on. It's a glue stick, and you put that on there and slide it back in. And now the technologies with sticks it's unbelievable. And the cost.
Yeah.
The cost is amazing now. I don't know how much it is for a hockey stick. You'd know more than me.
Yeah,
but I think like a good stick is a couple $100 or something. And, and I remember it when I would order the sticks in the minor league in Springfield. We would get Victoriaville sticks, and they were $65 a dozen.
Wow, that's nothing.
A dozen?
Yeah. How much was the Gretzky sticks? How much were you getting them for? The ones, the aluminum shaft. How much were you paying for?
You know what? I don't know. I think we got them no charge. It was
really
a deal.
Yeah, okay. What was he making? Did you know how much he got for using Easton?
I have no idea. All that stuff is all agent stuff.
Oh, got it. How many sticks?
I don't know, but he used 4 sticks a game.
4 sticks. Wow.
He prepared 4 sticks a game, because he gave away so many sticks.
Yeah. So when you ordered a batch for Gretzky, how many sticks would you order for him?
Well, you'd probably order. Normally, you'd order every few weeks. You'd order a dozen sticks, and you're always fine tuning the list. Whether the players have different specifications on their sticks, and they were all wooden at the time. So they want sticks stiff, or whippy, or light, or heavy, or this much curve, that much curve.
Yeah.
It's quite a extensive process to get the exact pattern that a player wants.
Yeah.
So we'd order every few weeks. There was always a stick order in. Then a batch of sticks would come in, and they wouldn't be exactly how the guy wanted. So you'd have to call them up, and 819-563-2202 is Sherwood's number. It's in my brain since the
Wow.
last 50 years.
So different numbers for different patterns or certain things.
No, that's the telephone number.
Got it. Oh, you called the company direct to talk to the customer.
819-563-2202.
Even though the wow, I didn't even
I
think.
got a knack for remembering all these doctors' phone numbers and everybody's numbers.
Wow. I don't even think Sherwood's making sticks here anymore. I think they're making them in China.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of lost track of the Drollet family.
Yeah, Drolet. Yeah. Gotta ask you. So you told me something funny. The guy from Fantasy Ireland. One time you saw him at the game. Fatu.
Hervé Villachez.
What's his character name? Tattoo.
So when Gretz came to town, we'd have 8,000 people before he came at a game. And half of them would leave in the third period. But when Gretz came to town, boy, the place went wild, and there was sellout every night, and all these, they didn't have the security then that they do now, and all these big stars would be around, and after one game, the Tattoo came down to the locker room and poked his head in the training room and said, "Hey, where's the bathroom?" So I took him over to the bathroom and said, "It's right here." And so he reached in his pocket and he had a gun in his pocket. And he took the gun out of his pocket and he put it on the counter. And I said, "You can't be in here with a gun." He said, "All right." He said, "I'll put it under the sink." So he put it under the shelf under the sink. So I was just reading about him the other day because I knew I was going to be talking to you. He only lived to be 50 years old.
Oh.
And he had, he was little people. He was a little guy,
Yeah.
And he, I guess his organs and everything were growing, and they were pressing on his body was small, and everything else was growing inside. And he had a lot of pain and something, so he took his own life. And I was thinking maybe he probably used that same gun. That's too bad. But he was a nice, friendly guy, but he just didn't realize that you can't come into the NHL locker room with a gun in your pocket,
Yeah. Were you the only one there, or was there other guys who saw the gun?
No, there was no one else. I mean, there was people around, but no one really witnessed that except me.
He just pulled it out. So here's my gun.
Well, he just was going to go in the bathroom, I guess, sit down in the toilet and sit down. So he didn't want it to fall on the floor, so he took it out of his pocket and put it on the sink.
That's why they have the airport security they do now at the hockey games for those kind of reasons.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Another story told me that back when you were in Providence, something happened in the penalty box, and you were telling me the story about a month ago or so.
Well, when I was in Springfield and the Kings
Springfield.
farm team, and we were playing in the old Coliseum, and there was a fight on the ice, and Red Armstrong, he played for Rochester. In fact, near the end of his career, he ended up coming and playing with the Kings, and I used to laugh about that with him about this story. And but anyway, there were Dunk Russo and Red Armstrong were fighting, and they went in the penalty box, and the penalty box was right exactly next to the bench, like a few feet away. Mm-hmm. And everything's all open in those days. No glass, no glass separating anybody in the penalty box. So they get in the penalty box, and there's just maybe a score off-ice official in the penalty box between these two guys. And so then they start fighting in the penalty box. And there's a policeman in the penalty box also. Mm-hmm. And that always used to lean against the wall there. And and just kind of keep his eye on everything. And so these guys started fighting again in the penalty box. So here we are in our own town, and the one policeman, he grabbed Dunk Russo around the wraparound hug to try to separate them, and Red Armstrong was just hammering. Dunk Russo couldn't protect himself, and I was right there, like 5 feet away. So we it's a family sport. We protect each other. It's a camaraderie that we have among us. And my reflexes at 140 pounds just took over, and I grabbed the cop. Well, every cop that was in the building came down there and grabbed me, and and they were. I wasn't fighting them or anything, and resisting them, but they were just hammering me. In fact, jumping to the end of the next day, I had my motorcycle in Springfield, and I couldn't put my helmet on for a few days. My head was swollen. But anyway, they then Bruce Landon, he was a backup goalie. He with his skates on, he came over there and tried to help, and they grabbed him too. So they took me outside and right away, and they handcuffed me to the police car, freezing out. And then they took us both to the police station, and then that was in the second period, I guess that was. So then when the game ended, the bus came to the police station and got us out of the police station. I didn't want to say got us out of jail. They got us out of the police station, and off we went to play. Off we went for the next game was in Rochester, home and away game. So we were going on the bus, and the only thing I regret is that during the third period, if we're leaving after a game, we used to make the ham and cheese sandwiches for the team, and I couldn't make the sandwiches, but they had everything in bag there on the front of the bus there when I got on, and I made the sandwiches while we were going. So what happened was, then there was we had to go before the judge.
Yes.
So all these policemen were there, and they said that I tore the uniforms of 7 policemen. So then we had a hearing, and the judge was there, and the judge just kind of laughed and said, "How is this little guy going to beat up 7 policemen and tear their uniforms?" And he threw the case out. And but then Jack Butterfield, he was the president of the league, and he lived right in Springfield there. He was at that game. But anyway, the president of the league, and he fined me $150 for leaving the bench. And the team paid that fine. But that's a story, not a story that I share much, but that's what we do for each other.
Yeah.
I could call a player that I haven't talked to in 20 years and say, "Hey, I'm in trouble right now," and he'd be on the next plane to LA, and I do the same for him. That's how we roll, because it's an unbelievable commitment that we all make when we sign up for this work.
Yeah, coworkers would never do that for each other in a regular job.
Yeah, well, that's what we do in hockey.
Yeah. I got to ask you, was the goalie, the backup goalie, arrested too? Correct.
Yeah, both of us went down to the station. Yeah.
And what did they say about him? That he also started something with the police?
Well, he left the bench, so he was fined by the league, and but they didn't really. They only focused on me because I'm the one that kind of kicked it off. But it's just here, we're in our own town.
Yeah.
And the police, if he's going to grab anybody, grab the other guy.
Yes.
Don't grab your home player. But and then they came from everywhere. The police were all over the place, and that was amazing.
Yeah, that's an amazing story.
And they put the handcuffs on me, and then they took the nightstick to tighten them up, and they banged my wrist on the handcuffs. I remember.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And what was the team doing on the ice? I mean, were they trying to stop the cops from taking you away, or did they not involve?
No one else. No one. They know that. Everything was kind of under control once once things settled down. But yeah, that was amazing.
Do you think I'm recalling the movie Slapshot? If you remember the scene where the cops were waiting for the Hanson brothers, do you think they got that idea from you? What happened to you?
No, I don't know. Like all that stuff. Really, I mean, they embellish it a little bit in a movie like Slapshot, but that all happens, or it did happen. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen players get involved with the fans, in the stands and stuff with the Boston Bruins and all that. But equipment manager trainer to get arrested, that's crazy. It just doesn't. I never heard that before, and it was something that you really didn't do anything, just was there, and yeah.
They removed all that from my record, or whatever you want to call it. This. But that story, someone else asked me about that maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I guess it's written somewhere.
Yeah, nobody would know about. I mean, yeah, I've never heard about that until you told me. Just as much as I know the hockey history stuff, and again, it's American League. It was Yeah. I remember Dino Ciccarelli, I heard, got arrested for stick swinging in '87. Did you hear about that one?
I'm sure I did, but my memory's good. It's just short.
There's a long. It was a little bit of stick swinging incident. I think he went to jail for like 3 days for trying to hit the head of the player with the stick.
Yeah, there used to be some pretty good sword fights.
Yeah, I mean, McSorley got in trouble. I think that was the suspension he got was, he tapped the guy.
Donald Brashear.
Yeah. Did you ever ask him about that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So sometimes hard to bring that stuff up and just ask him. Like,
I think he was just trying to get him to go, and Donald didn't want to go.
I just don't think Marty would do. I've seen Marty play for so many years, and I just don't see him doing anything. Yeah, Pete, I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking to me on my channel. It was great to talk to you. Great stories.
It's always great to talk with you, Jack.
Got it. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.